So we're calling this Chess Against Yourself.
Playing chess against yourself.
Yay, fun.
Welcome to this edition of Spiritual Fluffers.
Yep.
Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the ego, the face that we put out to the world, the secret self that we keep hidden away, and our soul that is truly who we are. So tell us a little bit about what happens when we're kiddos.
So basically, our equation, or what we're saying, is between the ages of 6 and 11, you basically give up your imagination to your ego, and then eventually your ego just takes complete control of your imagination and then uses it to beat yourself up over it.
So tell me a little bit about that. Can you give me an example?
I'll give you, when we're younger, we're dancing with unicorns. We're not thinking about society. We're thinking about, oh, this is cute. Oh, I'm in my play box. This is fun. But eventually there's that moment in everyone's life where they're like, uh-oh, what are those people thinking about me?
Right.
And then once that moment happens...
Once I start to care how I appear to other people, right?
The ego starts taking over.
Okay, that's the beginning of when my ego starts to take over.
And
that actual concern that I now suddenly recognize I care what other people think about me. It's almost like the Adam and Eve in the garden when they have that realization moment. Oh my gosh, we're naked and we're ashamed.
Yep.
So is that the same? It's when the ego kicks in.
Yep.
Okay.
It's the same thing. It's what happens to everyone says that we're sentient beings. I think we're semi-sentient beings. There's only, if you want to take math into equation, God's the only actual sentient being. We're semi-sentient. Barely. There's rocks that are not sentient, animals who are somewhat sentient. We're more sentient than animals.
And then God is completely sentient.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as a math equation, it's best to look at it that way, because then you can see yourself as not perfectly sentient, because we aren't. We're very flawed and beautifully flawed.
And so tell me, once that ego starts to kick in, once I start to care what other people think about me, I'm now in school, I'm, third grade, fourth grade, I'm starting to think about what I wear and what I do and whether or not I'm getting A's on my homework and my parents are happy with me. What's happening with this development of a face and my secret self and my soul? Just talk a little bit about that.
So I think what happens is basically your secret self, so you've got the face and the secret self, which are actually playing a little battle against each other, or a math equation where they're trying to balance each other out. And then there's your real self, or your soul self, which is infinite in nature, is capable of actually feeling real happiness and real love. Unfortunately, the face and the secret self cannot feel neither.
Now, is the face and the secret self, and your use of that, is that the ego? Is the ego the representation of the combination of the face and secret self?
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think there's also, so on the semi-conscious level, it's the face and secret self do battle. There's also an unconscious level where it just has this unconscious need of, I need more stimulus, I need more stimulus, I need more stimulus. Oh,
right.
Low-hanging fruit, anxiety, depression.
Too much stimulus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, there's never such thing as too much stimulus.
So the face that I'm putting out to the world, right? So let me go back to my, high school, college. I'm taking this class, making A's, valedictorian, trying for all of these accolades. That's a face that I'm projecting out into the world.
Yep.
Right?
And it's you can't feel real love with just the face. If someone loves you with just the face, it's very much like actors, like we were just talking about before this podcast with Heath Ledger. Clearly there's a bunch of people that loved Heath Ledger. He was getting all the accolades in the world, but he hated him.
But it was Heath's face.
Yeah.
It was his outward
and
facing.
The more that we loved him, the more we basically killed him. Because the equation is that pronounced.
So the face that I project out in the world, that's the one that I'm asking for the attention to. I think of lots of artists. In fact, Taylor Swift's got a new documentary out, and she talks exactly about this. She said, when the love that's coming to me is coming to my projected self out on the stage, that what's actually happening inside of me is worse and worse feelings about who I really am inside.
Those are more expectations that I have to reach. Oh shoot, now they really are looking at me. Now I have to be completely perfect.
Right.
The ego basically taking control and saying, okay, you should get higher. You could even do better.
You can do better. You can do better. You can do better.
And again, and then your secret self is going, this sucks.
So tell me a little bit about that. So in Heath Ledger's example, where he's projected out these characters that he dives his whole being into, he's getting tons of accolades for. That's the face that he's put out. What is his secret self saying while that's happening?
His secret self, if you're stuck in an ego matrix dynamic, it's always going to be, I'm not good enough, I need to be better. Because again, that's what the ego is set up to do. It's a CPU. We talked about this, a CPU unit where it's like, oh, you want to be perfect? Okay, well, I'll get you there by making you not feel good enough until we get there.
Gotcha. Okay, so the secret self is then feeding him this information inside himself that even though he's getting all of these accolades, that there's more accolades to get.
Yeah.
There's always a way to feel better. Yeah. So I feel this good, well, I could be even better at it. It's this constant drive to get more and more and more love and attention, but that love and attention is going to that face self.
It's superficial, so therefore you can never feel whole. At that level. And again, the secret self will constantly be like, well, and also the secret self will end up being like, well, why don't you feel it? Oh, well, I guess you're not worthy of it, or da-da-da-da-da. And then there's the real self, the soul self, that's saying, no, you're completely worthy of it no matter what.
Well, the soul self is saying, I am infinite love. I am divine love and wisdom. I am infinite source, creation. I am multidimensional being of light and love, having an earthly. You don't actually have to impress anybody.
Yeah.
Like, you are perfect as you are. You are a divine entity just by being.
Yeah. Well, and again, like, I'm worthy of this. Like, why wouldn't? And then also your your real self will be like, of course you're worthy of it. Like, this is. We were talking about with dogs, like, yeah, you're worthy of unconditional love. Why don't you get it, idiot?
Yeah.
But again, when you're stuck in the face and secret self matrix, you can't get it. You can't. It's impossible.
So it is this sort of almost insane game of chess against yourself.
If you're trying to get out of it, it happens that way. Once you start, again, I think that's what happens with people during this process is once you try to get out of it, you start playing chess against yourself. And the only way to get out of it is to try to seize control of your imagination. But if you say, oh, I don't like me thinking this way, your ego is going to start saying, oh, no, you're trying to kill me and I'm going to win. So you're superpowering your ego when you try to do that. Really, the only way to do it is submit, and then also through, I think, guided meditations, going back to trying to play with the unicorns. Does it sound silly? Yes. But again, our goal is to try to
get back to that space where you truly didn't care what other people thought about you. You weren't designing your life to impress others. You were being true to who you are inside, your drives, your loves, your hopes, your dreams.
To your moment. Yeah. And it's very difficult to get to that, especially in this anger, we'll call it, you know me.
The day and age of anger porn.
Anger porn, like, oh.
I mean, we are spiritual fluffers. Anger porn is perfectly appropriate
exactly.
for us.
But yeah, I mean, that's what's going on is you're just doing that. And again, it becomes a game. Was it a game before? Yes, but you just were unaware of it. Now you're more aware of it, and it becomes this tedious chess match where you're only going to tie. You cannot win.
Right, because your brilliance is on both sides of the chessboard.
Yeah.
So however brilliant move you're making over here, your same brilliance is matching it over here.
Well, and again, that's why, like, we are all Heath Ledger. Is he an extreme example? Yes, but we are all Heath Ledger. We are all doing this to a certain extent. Some of us are more aware of it than others, but we are all doing this.
And so let's talk a little bit about sort of the process of awakening to understanding that you're in this chess game with yourself. Or actually, you have to awaken before you even recognize that it's a chess game.
Yep.
Because if you're still sort of asleep at the wheel, so to speak, you're just constantly striving for that next promotion, the next prettier girlfriend, the next more handsome boyfriend, or whatever it is. You're constantly striving for this accolade that can be publicly recognized by others. And that will just be the marker of your existence. Yep. And your poor sweet soul is going, you're beautiful and infinite, and Actually, no, you're not an accountant. You're a painter.
Yeah.
And I've got this beautiful artwork that I have for you to create in this lifetime, but you're too busy trying to be an accountant. So you have a big house and 5 cars and a boat and all of that,
Yeah.
right? So then once we awaken, because that's what's going on right now, all of the ascension process on the earth, we're having this awakening experience.
Well,
and that's when you can say, oh my gosh, I'm in this masterful chess game against myself.
Well, and I think what starts with it is we'll label it certain things, like we'll label it anxiety attack, we'll label it midlife crisis, we'll label it all these other things, but really what
It could be like a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
Like I literally feel like I'm having a mental breakdown. You've been.
not a breakdown, a breakthrough.
Thank you.
But no, basically what's happening is what happened was a trickle of love actually touched your real self.
Yeah.
It got through
To your soul.
the face secret self matrix and touched it, and you're like, wait, this isn't real.
Once
I
you feel
actually
that, yeah.
enjoy this feeling, and that's what's going on. And some people are saying, oh, I'm actually feeling real emotion for the first time, or I'm stressed out because I have no idea why I'm stressed out. And that's what's really going on, is there's a certain recognition of it. It's not a conscious you're not consciously recognizing it, you're subconsciously recognizing it, and you're trying to quantify it and explain it. And unfortunately, most of us don't know how to quantify or explain it. And that's why usually we play this chess match against ourselves for like 3 or 5 years, and then we go back to being who we are, and we go back to being kind of miserable and unsatisfied. And we're like, okay, it's fine, that's what we're supposed to do.
It's so interesting, because then you think about all that we're dealing with in terms of opioid addictions and varying drug and alcohol addictions that we're dealing with. You wonder if people are experiencing some of these feelings or insights for the first time, and they're a little frightening right? Because I know I chose the traditional path. I did college, graduate school, standard career in working with nonprofits and foundations, climbed that ladder of accolades. And then when I started to have my spiritual awakening, I really felt as if I were standing on top of a mountain, and it literally just began to crumble underneath me. And I'm at a pile of rubble at the bottom. And it would have been very easy if I didn't have good guidance, if I didn't have Dr. Wendy Perel at drwendyempowers.com, or others on YouTube who are helping us, Lee Harris, Lori Ladd.
Or just friends.
Friends like you.
Yeah.
I mean, if I didn't have somebody that I could say, I'm losing my mind to, I would really think I'm losing my mind. I could easily have turned to drinking every night or starting drugs or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, basically, also another way to look at it is how we see ourselves in the world around us, especially with the face secret self matrix, is it's myopic. It's very narrow. But then what happens is once you hit a trickle of love in the secrets, or the real self, you go, boop, and then you're gonna go a little crazy because you see the world
all of a sudden pouring in on you.
Yeah. And you're supposed to feel that way. Like there's nothing wrong with feeling that way. It's just how do I quantify this experience, and how can I accept this experience to make it enjoyable and a wonderful,
make it a fun roller coaster ride instead of oh my god, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, and that's
and I no longer have value or worth in the world, because I'm no longer the corporate CEO or whatever.
Well, because the old way you used to quantify yourself will actually again go like, well, none of that matters because I just went from this to boop, and again you're going to go through that experience, and there's nothing wrong with that experience. It's actually, is it anxiety ridden? Yeah, it definitely is, especially if you don't know what's going on. But is it 100% enjoyable if you do kind of know what's going on and have fun with it and don't take yourself too seriously? Because as soon as you start taking yourself seriously, the ego was like, okay, I got this.
Yep. We can just come over here and make this the face now. We'll make you a spiritual being.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to be. You're going to be a spiritual teacher now. And you're going to go right back into trying to be something, trying to do something so that other people approve of you.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're still going to go through the same matrix as long as you're still in the ego matrix, you're still going to do you're still going to do it. Like, and again, like, even if you're out of it, unless you're Buddha or Jesus, like, you're still going to be in it. Like, are you going to be in it 90% of the time, or are you going to be in it 10% of the time? And you're still going to be in it, and there's nothing wrong with actually being in it some of the time.
Right.
It's just hopefully you can learn how to enjoy yourself and exist with your ego as a separate entity, as a CPU.
Right.
And use it to your advantage, and also use it to not hate yourself.
Right, that's what I was going to say, not let it drive the bus, so to speak.
Let's not be Heath Ledgers. Let's learn from him.
Absolutely. Please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
let's learn from that lesson and not...
Well, and also supposedly he was like a really nice person in public, which
Yes.
again, that's what's going on. It's
Yes.
like he's probably overcompensating because of his ego matrix.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
again, this happens to everyone on a certain level. You might be more aware of it or less aware of it, but you are doing it. You can't get out of that.
No, if you are the fishbowl, I was going to say, if you are alive and incarnated on this earth in a human body, you are absolutely in this matrix that we're talking about.
Yeah.
You are either aware of that and actively playing that chess game against yourself, or you are aware of it and you have released into the flow of the universal love and information that's coming into your life, and balancing that 50-50, 70-30, living in the 3D, living towards a face that you put out to the world, but also understanding that you are an infinite being. So everybody's in some level of this.
Yeah, there's no question. Again, it's levels and layers, and again, you're not going to be perfect unless, you know, I mean, I think Buddhism was Buddhism, enlightenment, nirvana, like no one reached it. Taoism, I believe, was the endless path. Christianity basically takes the philosophy of
suffer now, and you'll get it in heaven.
Just don't mess up too much. You'll get it when you die.
Yeah,
which is not a bad. It's like we were talking about. It was like that's probably not that bad of a. Like that's actually probably pretty accurate because the endless path is like it's endless. Buddhism, same thing. Well,
turn the pain up.
Yeah, and also again, like you're playing again. Once you go into that matrix, you're playing chess against yourself. And can you get further? Oh yeah, I can get further. Oh shoot, I'm not further. Someone else is further along than me. Oh my gosh.
Well, this has been awesome. Thank you. And I hope that those of you out here who are seeing this, and if you're going through this experience, we definitely encourage you to find somebody that you can talk to about it. We'll have comment box down below, so you can make sure and post any questions or thoughts or comments or experiences in terms of what you're going through. And just know that you're not alone. I know in several of our Spiritual Fluffer series, you're going to hear us keep saying, you are not alone in this. There are lots and lots of people going through this. Probably many of people around you at your office or even at church or wherever you go out in the evenings. Everybody's dealing with this right now. So do your best to love yourself and understand that you are an infinite being. You absolutely do not have to do another thing all day long, every day, to be more loved than you already are.
Yeah. Oh, and then another thing, if you can, share your absurd experience, your Heath Ledger moments of someone absolutely loving you and you just going cringy. Because the more you kind of express it and make fun of it, the more... fun this experience gets. And again, it's good to share it because you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm doing this almost on a daily basis.
And all of us are.
We all are.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.